He's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be right.
Yeah.
So somebody is there.
Yeah. Well, that's not somebody, but it is.
That is Darlene here. Hey, Darlene, you want to come in? Randall, come shoulder.
He said, we ain't turning the heat up.
You're kidding. It is a hockey game.
Yeah, but it was really cold.
So you couldn't drunk yet, you called them. You're kidding.
No, I
Dick Jack up, Jim.
Yeah. I know.
So, that's what we do.
Hockey's supposed to be cold.
That's facilities management. I know it can be done.
Apple phone. Don't you know turn this damn ringer on?
Put it in water.
Oh, put it in water.
Salt water.
Real, what the hell was it?
Wireless one.
Yes.
You remember in the old days, these phones came out with these hair dryers? When you dropped the phone, you had to use hair dryers to dry them out before they would work. You did? Oh, I tried. So I was supposed to check out the distance. Selling you pictures? How you doing, cousin? You have a birthday on the 7th of January. Okay. Did you know that? What is that? Yeah. It used to be Marley's Kimchi. Richard had said a lot of things. Yeah, he was from, not on the 7th, but he was all the people in January.
But this is so Ash Valley stuff. It'll be about like 30 seconds.
Why tell us 30 seconds? Come out in 30 seconds.
Everybody.
Everybody come over, please. Come on inside.
Just give us a minute. We got a few people here.
Let's get everybody out, please.
Okay. Okay. Squeeze in here, everybody.
There's room over here.
For the TV people, if you could make an effort to get Shelley right here. Shelley's our interpreter. If you make an effort to get her in the shot, we'd appreciate that.
Does that work?
Yeah, she's been vetted.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming over here on a Friday afternoon. We're here really to talk about a very serious subject, and that is the level of violence in our city is at a crisis level. We've had, so far this year, 197 murders compared to 188 last year, and it seems likely that there could be several more before the end of December. This is the most homicides that we've had in St. Louis since 1995. In addition, there have been almost 80 homicides in St. Louis County. There have also been almost 1,000 victims of non-fatal shootings. Tragically, many of these victims will not be able to realize their full potential because of their injuries. Violence increase is happening in major cities across the country: Kansas City, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Philadelphia, Charlotte, their homicides are all also running ahead of last year. This demonstrates the scope of the problem. It does not in any way diminish the seriousness and the very real crisis that we have right here in St. Louis. I think it is apparent to most of us that we are awash in guns. They're being used to settle differences, defend territory, retaliate, take cars, do holdups, and as everyone knows, carjackings are also up from prior years. Some of this increase in carjackings may be as a result of the newer keyless entry system that cars have today. Law enforcement is very, very serious about this violence. Law enforcement is focusing on arresting the most violent offenders, on removing guns from the street. They're focusing on non-fatal shootings and on trying to anticipate groups involved in this activity and maybe even who could be the next victims. This police work is dangerous, both for the suspects and for the perpetrators. But we also know that we can't arrest our way out of this situation. We can't incarcerate our way out of this situation. We are increasing funding, as I think you know, for recreation programs and for job programs, including job readiness and training. Dr. Alice Prince is here today, and I must say that it is a new day at Slate. If you or someone you know needs a job, please contact Slate, 589-8000. Every Wednesday, there are employers at Slate actually hiring people. Slate will help you brush up on your skills. Slate will help you apply. They will help you get employed. So please take advantage of this opportunity. But the real message here today is that we need everyone's help. That's why there are so many of us here today standing before you. We all recognize that we need everyone working in the same direction to reduce violence. And so we are asking each of you to please come forward. If you're a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, a friend, a pastor, teacher, and you have information, or if you're worried about a gun that may be in your house, please come forward. You can come forward completely anonymously and contact Crime Stoppers. Or you can contact a trusted social service agency, D.J. Johnson's Foundation, Better Family Life, various United Way agencies. Or you can contact your pastor or your school counselor. But please help us prevent more violence and solve crimes by coming forward and working together with us. As I said a little bit earlier, we are awash in guns in St. Louis, in this state, and frankly in this country. So far this year, year's almost over, the police department has taken over 2,000 guns off of the streets. that's not nearly enough. And so today, working with the Police Foundation, we are initiating a gun buyback program for this region, St. Louis City, County, East St. Louis. And we expect that that will begin next week. We are going to have a central location where folks can turn in guns if they are willing to turn those in. And they will be able to get a gift certificate to Schnucks and perhaps other places as well in return for turning in those guns. The last time we had a gun buyback program was almost 10 years ago. And so we think it is time to do that again. And we are really very hopeful that the community and all of you will work with us in order to try to take additional guns off the street. Now, there are a number of people here today, and I don't want to do all of the talking. So I want to turn it over in just a second to Public Safety Director and Judge Jimmie Edwards. Most of you know that he began as the Public Safety Director about a little over a month ago. And so we're very excited to have him here. And we're also excited to have a few other people here, and I'm going to let Judge Jimmie Edwards introduce those people and let you hear from them as well. So thanks to all of you for being here and to help us spread this message and to help us have a safer St. Louis. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Public Safety Director and Judge Jimmie Edwards.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Public safety is the responsibility of every single person that resides in the city of St. Louis or that visits the city of St. Louis. So today, we're asking those of you that are watching this newscast that you also have a responsibility. If you are a victim of a crime, please report it. If you witness a crime, it is imperative that you contact the police. If you know defendants, please be responsible and let us know. I've been Public Safety Director for less than a month. I think that crime solutions and crime fighting is a regional issue. Therefore, I've asked all of the chiefs, St. Louis City, St. Louis County, municipal chiefs, as well as the chief in East St. Louis, to come together and to develop solutions to try to help stem these criminal activities. I've also asked those that are behind me to stand with me, alongside of me, to ensure that we are able to make our cities safer, and of course, we want you to feel safe. I'm very honored that the Bar Association of the Metropolitan St. Louis has agreed to participate in the gun buyback. So I want to thank the lawyers. I'm so appreciative. The Police Foundation has also agreed to help finance the gun buyback. I believe that that gun buyback program will yield some weapons, if not taken off the street, could result in serious criminal activity. So I'm pleased to have the current U.S. Attorney, Jeff Jensen, standing with us. I'm happy that our Circuit Attorney, Kim Gardner, is also here. Former U.S. Attorney Ed Dowd, who is a lawyer, a member of the Bar Association of Metropolitan St. Louis. And when asked, will you help? Without any hesitation, he simply said, yes. And the many pastors that are standing with us, including other city agencies, all here because we understand that but for us doing this together, we cannot accomplish and make our city the safest that it could be. So I will invite now to have a few words, Jeff Jensen and Demetrius Johnson, followed by Ed Dowd and James Clark of Better Family Life, and then we'll have a representative of our clergy. After he's done, that will conclude our press conference. I encourage all of you to have discussions with these folk individually because they know how important it is that they too stand with us in the public safety office to make sure our city is safe. And I would be remiss if I did not thank Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers is indeed a partner. And so, please, if you know something, say something. Please call Crime Stoppers at 1-866-371-8477. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate that. Demetrius, come on up. Let me first introduce my good friend, Demetrius Jensen. I think he'd like to say a few words.
Well, it's truly an honor to be here. When I look around and see the various agencies and the various clergy come together to try to bring some closure to some things that's going on in our community. One thing we all need to walk away understanding, that we all are one tragedy away from something happening. I mean, the crime, the violence, none of us is immune from that. So we got to be very diligent. We got to do these things like here and bring people together, bring various organizations who normally don't work together for one common goal. And that goal is to stop crime, give folks in our community an opportunity to make a living and try to uplift our community. So I'm so honored that they had me here to be a part of this. And I'm looking forward to not only being a part of it, but making a change in this community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, DJ. So my name's Jeff Jensen. I'm the new U.S. Attorney. I've been in office for about 2 months now, traveling around talking to all of the stakeholders in this problem. I'm very happy to be in this room and to be part of the solution. I realize we cannot prosecute our way out of this problem, but prosecution is an important part of the solution. Kim Gardner and I work closely together in prosecutions, and we're going to come after violent crime aggressively. So right now, I think people have a choice. If you're committing a violent crime, you have a choice. You can participate in job programs with Demetrius Jensen or Slate. You can participate in de-escalation programs with James Clark and Better Family Life, or you can choose to commit a violent crime. And if you do, I promise we will prosecute aggressively. For example, carjacking, which is obviously a problem here. The federal penalty for carjacking is a mandatory minimum of 7 years for the first carjacking, and then 25 years for each additional carjacking. That's federal time served. All of the federal time is served. So please consider this a warning if you plan on committing a violent crime in the city of St. Louis. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ed Dowd. I'm the president of the Bar Association of Metropolitan St. Louis, and with me is Zoe Lindsay, the executive director of the Bar Association of Metropolitan St. Louis. And I was the U.S. attorney under Bill Clinton. I know exactly what Jeff's talking about. The federal government can have a huge impact on this, and so can the lawyers of our community. Gun violence is everybody's problem. No matter where you live here, whether it's in West St. Louis County or in North St. Louis or in East St. Louis, it's everybody's problem. And the lawyers here are going to fund that gun buyback program and try and reduce some of these numbers, some of the violence that we have here. And we're going to stay with it and work with this incredible team. And this is a great overall program that I think is going to really have an impact. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First, I want to give honor and thanks to God, who's the giver and the sustainer of all of our lives. Then want to commend Judge Edwards and Mayor Krewson and the pastors and other department heads and individual leaders from throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area for coming together to give this issue of crime and violence the top tier attention that it demands. We have individuals and families living in our neighborhoods who are living in war zones. They are being held hostage by individuals, a minute number of individuals whose behavior is bringing St. Louis to her knees. This effort could be a renaissance, but we've got to be able to engage the individuals and the families in our more challenged neighborhoods, inspire them to become active in their neighborhood. Then we have to bring the resources to bear to help organize neighborhoods, empower families so that we can return St. Louis to the level of a first-class city. Better family life, we are committed, and we want to see St. Louis restored to greatness. I was born in the city of St. Louis, raised in the city of St. Louis, but I got to tell you the truth. I don't recognize this city right now. I don't recognize St. Louis right now. The spirit and the environment that we live in now is foreign to me. We're committed to restoring St. Louis, but it's going to take each and every one of us. Thank you very much, and God bless each and every one of you.
And before we get to our pastors,
First of all, thank you, everybody, for coming here. I'm Kim Gardner, Circuit Attorney for the City of St. Louis. And what this signifies right now is we have to work together to move our city together. It's about public safety. We cannot arrest our way out of it as well as prosecute, but we have to make people feel comfortable in our communities to come forward, to hold those most serious people accountable for the violence that we hear, that we see, that we all experience. So it's about building trust in the criminal justice system. And that's why this is so important. We have to have a true mission, and the mission is public safety. And I want to support everyone up here to do those things, the mayor, Director of Public Safety, Judge Jimmie Edwards, and the community leaders, but we have to do something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Thank you.
thank you. Pastor, please.
Thank you. Mayor, my name is Charles Brown. I'm the president of the Metropolitan Clergy Coalition. It's an honor and a privilege for the Clergy Coalition to be a part of this great effort. This is something new and different in our city. First time that I can remember that the clergy been invited to such a time and situation as this. We know our streets, our city is in danger, crime is running rapidly, and I am appreciative of the fact that the mayor of our city and Judge Edwards are working in a different direction to bring about a change. As the Clergy Coalition and President, we're excited to be a part of it, and we want to make sure that whatever we can do, we're excited about doing and willing to work with the city. I do say this, that there are things that needs to be done. And so however we can, talking to the people in our neighborhoods and around our churches, that's a part, that's what we do. As clergy, we are in the neighborhoods. We are talking to the people. We're in the areas where a lot of this stuff is going. And so we try to meet with these gang leaders and people to let them know that we care and we're concerned. And so I thank Mayor Krewson and I thank Judge Edwards for inviting us down for this particular situation and all that's transpiring today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Before we end, I just want to really thank our mayor for strong leadership with respect to these issues of public safety and policing. I want to thank all of those that have come out to support us. And of course, I want to thank you, our citizens, our great citizens, for helping us restore the trust and the safety that we all want in our city. That will conclude our press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here, and if I could just say thanks to everybody who's standing up here with us today. I mean, this is the only way, the only successful way for us to move forward is to move forward together. Thank you all.
I'm sorry?
Where do all the guns come from?
Many are stolen. There, other people here perhaps better to answer that question. Maybe Chief O'Toole.
You know, a number of the guns are stolen. I can tell you that we know that cars are broken into throughout the area, not just in the city, and often because of our the concealed carry in Missouri, there are often guns that are left in those cars. So a number of these firearms are left in the cars. Just recently, there's been some of the gun shops in St. Louis County that have been burglarized, as well as Jefferson County. The gun last week that we took off in one case, it was a stolen assault rifle. So, and then of course we know through the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms that there are those cases where individuals go in and buy guns and then give them to their friends and so forth. And so those guns all come through different means like that.
Is there a way to ensure that the gun buyback is going for those guns and not just the old rusty ones that you might have that grandpa gave you years ago and you don't know what else to do with?
Well, actually,
Yeah, that's a, thank you very much. That's a very great question. I'm very concerned about not purchasing guns coming from pawn shops. I'm concerned that we will not, and I can assure you that we will not purchase guns coming from outstate Missouri places like Saxton, Missouri, Prairieville, Missouri. So we're very interested in purchasing and locating those guns that are regional, those guns that are found in the city of St. Louis County, East St. Louis. And so we'll be very careful that we don't fall into the trap, if you will, of purchasing guns that are not necessarily or could be used in crime.
But even here in St. Louis, I mean, what's a Schnucks gift certificate to a guy who's on the street selling drugs and is using his gun for, you know, that business?
Well, certainly, yes.
I was gonna say, maybe his grandma turned in that gun, maybe his sister, maybe his pastor. I mean, a concerned person may turn in that gun. And the other thing, I think it is often easy to criticize a gun buyback program, but frankly, if we get 1 or 2 or 10 guns off this street that would have been used in a serious crime, I will consider that a success.
Mayor, you mentioned that it had been a decade since we had such a program.
2008, I think, was the year.
How effective was it? Can you talk about why, was that part of your decision?
I wasn't here then, but I understand there were 1,000 guns in a day.
Yes.
Or a weekend, so
Right.
there were a lot of guns that were redeemed during that period of time. And we think that, you know, this situation that we're in, there is not one thing that we can do that'll solve this. We have to do a lot of different things on a lot of different levels, and gun buyback is just one of those things.
Can you also speak about the police chief? What progress have you made? What's the next steps now?
I think you know, because it's been in the media a lot, that next week we're interviewing candidates for police chief.
Is the Police Foundation funding this entire initiative, and if not, how much are you planning on spending on this?
We, as a city, as a government, we don't intend to spend any money on this gun buyback. You heard that the Bar Association of Metropolitan St. Louis and the lawyers have stepped up to take on this awesome task of funding that. And so, you know, lawyers are really good people. Have you heard me say that before? I like lawyers, and lawyers tend to like me. So I'm very appreciative. But I just want to pivot back to a very, very good question. This gun buyback is targeted to good people. I'm trying to reach good people that are willing to turn in guns that are perhaps in their homes unlawfully. Good people like neighbors that have seen children walking the street with guns. I don't expect the criminals and the crooks to come in here and bring me a gun. I do expect, however, that the good people will tell us where the guns are.
Do you plan on running those guns and seeing if they've been involved in any crimes?
Well, I think necessarily that any gun that comes to us will be anonymous. Our interest is not to identify people, but it would be less than prudent, or it wouldn't make sense if we didn't run a gun to determine whether there was a crime on it. So it just makes sense to do that, but we're not looking to arrest folk. My message is simple. Mom, grandma, uncle, dad, give us the guns. Give us the guns, because that same gun that is in your house may be a weapon used to hurt someone very badly, or perhaps even your own child.
This is, for anyone who's you know, been in St. Louis for a while, sounds very similar to what gets posed every year when homicides are up. We're working together, we have to work together. What's different now?
Well, I don't think you've heard that posed certainly from this office, and I can't speak to what might have happened 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. But most of the people that are here today have said that they have not been here before and invited to participate in this effort to really bring our community together. I think everyone is hurting, as a result of this situation. And certainly, every victim, whether it's a homicide victim or a victim who is injured, they have family members. They have 10, 20, 30 family members who are all impacted by this crime. So we're asking for everyone to come together.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Perfect.
Good to see you again. I will tell Ted everything.